is getting bigger, it's expanding.
We can camp here tonight. It's destroying everything.
It's not destroying.
Hi everyone, it's Nick here, and today we'll be reviewing Annihilation. Now, the movie arrived yesterday, which was the 12th of March, on Netflix. However, it was actually out before that in America. Paramount actually distributed it to the local cinemas, and yeah, just a couple of weeks later, suddenly here it is on Netflix. Quite an unusual model. I don't know if this has been done before. I don't think so. Apparently there's quite a good reason why. Paramount were not actually convinced that they were going to make any money off this movie, okay? So what actually happened was they had a screening where they get general public to come and have a watch of the movie, and apparently the general public found it far too, I don't know, intellectual. I'm sorry guys, but that's actually what happened. And there was a request to Alex Garland, who directed this. We'll talk a bit about him just now, but they actually asked him to dumb it down, and he refused to. And luckily, to his defense, came producer, I'm not sure if it was Scott Rudin or Andrew McDonald. I think it was Scott Rudin, who basically sort of stuck up for him and said, no, this movie's damn good. The critics are going to love it. Not that you make movies for critics, but people are going to love it. It's going to go down in the annals of great science fiction. We'll see whether it did or not. So yes, Alex Garland is the sort of wonder child behind Ex Machina, which was an absolutely amazing movie. I mean, he was nominated for an Oscar straight away. It was brand new. This guy was not known very well before for his screenplay for the movie. And it went on to sort of blow our bloody minds, and certainly launch certain people into their careers. Looking at you, Elisa Vikander, I think it is, who's in Tomb Raider, which apparently is not that bad, but I can't go into it because of embargoes. So anyway, Alex Garland, of course, did Ex Machina, so he's got some science fiction behind him. This is based on the book by Jeff VanderMeer. I always forget his name, which is strange because VanderMeer is a very South African sounding name anyway. So Jeff VanderMeer made this book in 2014. It's part of his trilogy, the South Range trilogy. And when this movie was written by Alex Garland, he had only read the first book, so the only first book had actually come out, alright? So just quickly want to address this controversy that that a couple of people, I don't know, I've got to be careful if I use the SJW word, but some people were complaining and saying that by choosing Natalie Portman, they were whitewashing the character, because apparently in the second book you find out that the main character in the first book is actually half Asian and half African American, I believe. However, in the first book, you are not told the race of any of the characters. In fact, you're not even told their fucking names. So how the director is supposed to have ESP or whatever, and then know about this, and then have people chasing him, expecting to, and actually demanding, as a matter of fact, one women's group online was demanding an apology and an exclamation even. And yeah, quite frankly, I'm getting so tired of this. I really am. I get the idea of whitewashing as being bad, but come on guys, look into your facts before you start leaping to conclusions. So yes, Alex Garland, a guy who has got a lot of science fiction behind him. Well, not a lot, but he's got good science fiction behind him. Picks up this novel that I've just read. I found out that he was doing this, and I read the book, and before the first trailer came out. And then the first trailer came out, and I have to be honest with you, I was not impressed. You can ask Curve, and I was pissed off, to be honest with you. The reason I was is because this didn't look anything like the book. And yes, people go on about, books they never, adapt to the movie screen exactly the same way. But this was so different. I mean, it's like getting Lord of the Rings, and then suddenly Bilbo Baggins has got jetpacks, and they've got Uzis and assault rifles, which actually they do in this movie, and in the actual book, only one person has a gun. So yes, let's go straight to the movie. It stars a very, very good cast. It has Natalie Portman, who I've had great respect for a very long time, ever since Black Swan. You've got people like Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson, and of course Oscar Isaac, who also appeared in Ex Machina. So Alex Garland and him seem to have some sort of, friendship going on there. He doesn't do much in this movie, but he is there. So yes, again, the movie is very different to the book. So if you have read the book, I would still suggest going to watch this, because it's very different. The story is completely different, as a matter of fact. They've taken a few elements like the shimmer, which is this sort of electromagnetic field around. I'll go into the story just now, but they've taken some elements, and they've then created a completely different idea on this. So what is the story about? Well, I'm going to try and make sure I don't think about the book right now. Let me have a quick drink. Nothing better than talking about a good movie with some really cheap boxed wine. Anyway, the movie starts with the husband of Naomi, Natalie Portman's wife. Is the wife of Kane, who is Oscar Isaac's character. What's her name? Lena, that's right. She's a biologist, and it starts with him arriving home after being missing in action for a year. And she's sort of like, what the hell? And suddenly he gets very ill, and on the way to the hospital, they're intervened by a sort of military team. You're not quite sure what they are up to. And then they are sort of carried to an area called Area X. Now, Area X is where this weird phenomena 3 years prior started growing. It's basically an electromagnetic field, and people go in, but nobody comes out. Except for, of course, as I said, Kane, Oscar Isaac's character. I didn't say, of course, but he appears after being missing in there for a year. And then, of course, things start moving along, and you get Natalie Portman's character, Lena. She gets together with a team of women, only women this time. It's actually mentioned why, because they've sent through teams of only men, they've sent through teams of coming from land, coming from water, coming from the air, so they just keep, trying to change things up. There's also a bit of a motivation as to why that is the case, but I'm not going to give you any spoilers on that. So they go in there, and I must say, the visuals in this is absolutely brilliant. For a movie that didn't cost a huge amount of money, it was only a budget of $40 million or gross $55 million to make this movie, and it certainly hasn't brought much in. It actually only brought in $26 million at the box office, but I believe Netflix bought it for $40 million, so they definitely did get the money back. So the visuals in this are fantastic. They are absolutely stunning. From the shimmer, which looks like a bubble. I don't know if when you were a kid, if you ever played with those bubbles where you get like that big straw or 2 sticks, you dip it into a bucket and then you wave it around like this and you got this massive bubbles. Imagine a massive bubble like that surrounding a big area, like 50 kilometers diameter, whatever. And that's what it looks like. It's constantly shimmering in the background. And when you actually get in there, it's almost like an Avatar world. You get the basic fauna that we've seen before, forests, trees, and then on top of this you see this kind of fungus or this intrusion that has come from something else. And like I said, it's very colourful and very, very pretty to look at, I must say. Just going on to the acting, it's very well acted. I don't think anybody really, I think everyone did a damn good job in this, actually. As I said, there's only 5 women who go in and things start happening. So the one way it's very different to the book is that this is a lot more like Aliens. They all go in there heavily armed, and they do encounter things that they get to shoot at. In the book, they certainly don't get to shoot at any creatures anyway. And that's done very well in this, I think. There's not too much military, go get him, we're all going to die, game over. There's not too much of that going on. It's quite as I said, it's a very cranial movie, and I think they paced it very, very well in that. It's a 2 hour long movie, it's quite long, which I'm very happy with because it certainly didn't feel like 2 hours. So the first half, you're not quite sure what on earth is going on, and quite frankly, I think a lot of people, when they finish watching the movie, will have more questions than they will have answers. I've been thinking about this movie since last night, and I'm coming up with new ideas the more I think about it, so I wouldn't mind going and watching it again, because they do give you a couple of snippets. For one character says, being inside this dome, for want of a better word, is basically like being inside a prison. Or at least the dome's acting like a prison for DNA. So DNA is getting spliced and things are happening to the animals, the normal fauna, the normal animals, the normal trees. Everything is being sort of sliced up and diced. It's very difficult to talk about this because the main stuff happens towards the very end where they get to the lighthouse. The entire mission is to try and get to the lighthouse because that's where the phenomena originated from. And that's like the last, 15, 20 minutes, and that's heavily spoiler area. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go into spoilers right now, but you can look out for enjoying the action. There's not too much action, a couple of jump scares, so that's definitely straddling the line between science fiction and horror, because a lot of things are not given to you. You have to sort of either accept that that's just the way it is, or maybe you put your science lens on and try and figure out what might be going on from a scientific point of view. But I think it was deliberately done by Garland to make it not completely logical, not completely mathematical, even though you do have, you've got, you've got a biologist, you've got a psychologist, you've got a paramedic, a physicist, a surveyor, and a couple of other characters too who aren't actually the main team. So I think a lot of people are going to love this movie, people who like their science fiction. This is not the sort of science fiction that we've had recently, like Mute, which I enjoyed, but a lot of people didn't, or Altered Carbon. This is not noir. This is heavy science fiction. It almost straddles the Arrival line, where people just don't know what the hell is going on. So it's not a narrative that goes in and goes out. It's a situational movie. So everything is here, and that's the reason you have to react to that particular thing. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It didn't feel very long for me. The ending is visually stunning. It is, I think, deliberately a little bit ambiguous as to what exactly the hell happened. So it'd be quite nice to talk to people about this and see what they thought was actually happening throughout the movie, because it does definitely finish very different to the book. As I say, this was written as the first part of the trilogy, and the director, Alex Garland, he decided to turn this into a standalone movie, which is why it is the way it is. So yes, I'm going to give this movie an 8.5. Absolutely loved it. I'm definitely going to watch it again. It's one of my science fiction movies of the last couple of years, I would say. It's not like Blade Runner, where it questions things from the past and stuff like that. It's a very different beast. It's a real splicing of genres, and that's a nice word, that especially in regards to this movie. So yes, Annihilation, absolutely brilliant. Go and watch it on Netflix. It's easily accessible. It's no longer at the cinema. And let us know what you guys think in the comments section below. And I've just got to mention this again. I've always loved Natalie Portman, as I say, and my God, she still looks absolutely stunning in this movie. I'm not quite sure exactly how old she is, but I know she's a mother and MILF. But yeah, anyway, enjoy the movie. Let me know what you guys think. Catch you later.